Uh, I I feel I feel very complete about this first book, and I feel very complete about the Memory Palace. I don't know if I would have written that book now, just because I'm a different person. I'm different now. But uh, if you read through it and you're just not totally sick of it, and and you get, I think sometimes you can't see the forest for the trees, and you have to really, that's why it's important to have a community, have other people you really trust read your work, and have a really great editor. And my agent's a really great editor. So I think I also rely on those people to say, listen, you're done, stop. you know. What about you, Rob?
Oh, I've got critique partners that drive me up the wall sometimes, but they're almost always right. Because I always walk in with a bit of that writer ego. I've done it this time. You're not going to have anything to say. And then we have this to say, this to say, this. Discordia, despair. Why is it not what I thought it was? And then I've got an editor that I trust, and then I've also got a couple of family members that I use and some beta readers. Do you use beta readers, critique partners, anybody outside of your
Oh
who all
yeah.
gets to read your book before it goes?
Well, this is really odd because the book I'm working on, the second book, no one this is the first time in my life that no one's read anything except I read the first chapter to um, my sister and a couple friends and my husband, and that is it. I've been working on this for a year and a half, well over a year and a half, and no one's read anything. That's really unusual. Um, uh, Before then, I mean, I had a writers group which I disbanded this year just because of my I can't read as much, and I just can't read other people's manuscripts right now, so I had to take a break. I have a couple friends who are my absolute beta readers. They're just so good. Um, One of them is so busy right now with his own novel, and I don't really want to bother him, but I probably will at least ask at some point when I have a really good first draft. Um, uh, and then, I mean, I give my books my work to when I really feel like it's at a good place. um, I give it to a couple of writers I trust. I give it to my husband. I give it to my agent, and I give it to a handful of people who are people who love books but are not who are would be the general public. Like I have a friend who she's a really good reader. She's a retired fourth grade teacher, um, and she's
Perfect.
yeah, and so she was also really good for the memory pals too because she just devours books. With with the Wonderling, I gave it to children too, and I gave it to kids with an age range, and that was fantastic because it became clear that I had to change the ending to my book based on what everyone said, including my teacher friend, and um, in a book for adults, you can leave certain things hanging. You can have a sense of the end of your book is going to be really dark and full of despair for, like the certain characters will never be saved, blah blah blah, whatever. Someone might die, blah blah blah. Um, Kids, middle grade kids and younger, they want things. They want to know that certain characters are going to be okay, and that was a big lesson. And every single kid who read my book said, "Is Arthur going to go and blah 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 blah?" I can't tell you what it is because then that's the end of the story. And I was like, "No, actually." And they said, "Really? But what happens to blah blah blah?" And I said, "Okay, I better look at this." So I changed the ending of my book. I didn't change. I changed the location of the ending. Um, I don't go into detail because it's a huge spoiler, but and I also had like this one girl was amazing. She was like, "What you have here is your aha moment." She would like say things like that. She was just, I love this kid. I still am in touch with her, and I will totally give her my, book too. She's amazing. In fact, when I did a local reading, I invited her to read the opening to my book. I love reading with people. I don't like, um, doing the solo thing. I always invite people to do stuff with me. So yeah, having readers is really important. I know writers who write in a vacuum and they don't get feedback from anyone. And I don't think that's good. You should have to choose the right people, as you know, and not people who just love everything you do because it's so amazing, just people who really want to make that book the best it can be, so.
As long as it's coming from a loving place, because I've been in a few different
Yeah.
critique groups before I found my beloved young adult cannibals that regular esteemed audience knows I never shut up about. They're an amazing group of writers.
Wow.
But I've been in the group where everybody's nice, they're real polite to you, and there's a kind of cynicism there because it implies, well, you're not really going to make this into anything anyway. So let me say the thing that will allow us to get through lunch and continue to be friends, and I'll see you later. And then there's the other extreme of that, where the writers are so focused on being hypercritical that you can't necessarily trust what they're getting at. And if everything you're getting is negative, either you're terrible and you need to stop writing, or you're maybe in a group that's not having a positive influence on your mental space.
Right.